I was working downtown at a construction firm, and part of our orientation, they would say that you don't ever make a right out of this building. You'd always make a left, because if you made a right, there was the PAL building there that was mainly for drug users, and then right across the street there were abandoned buildings, which there were alcoholics at those buildings. And so we just always knew that when we left work at night that we needed to make a left. And as I left work one night, it was storming, raining, and I saw this really young couple, maybe 18 and 19, sitting on this abandoned dock on their sleeping bags. And that was all they had there. So I'd assumed that they had come over from the right and for some reason needed to be in a safer area since they were so young. And so I called my dad, who lived in St. Charles, and said, you need to come down here. I'm leaving town tonight, but this young couple, they need a tent. They probably need some food. It's a really bad night to be on the streets. And my dad said, I am not coming, down to an area of St. Louis I don't know, to meet a couple I've never met, and to step in a way that we haven't served before. And so by the time I got to Chicago that night, I had a message from my dad. And he had gone down and set up a tent with a gentleman. My mom was out of town, so my dad took my mom's down blanket to them and some food and a weather radio. And kind of thought that we had done what we were asked to do that night, and that was the end of it. But every day when I left work, I had to pass that couple. And so I started taking $10 bags of food from Aldi's. So it would have some kind of protein, crackers, cookies, some water, and would just drop it off in the morning. And within a couple of weeks, the young girl was standing on that dock, and she was just waving at me like wildly with her whole body. And when I saw her, I thought, oh my goodness, that's my sister. I have a sister with learning disabilities. And I could just see my sister like flagging me down that same way, like so excited. And the young woman asked, you're the one bringing the food? And I said, yeah. And she said, we just wanted to thank you. We just wanted to really thank you. And I said, well, is there another way we can help you? Do you need anything? And she said, no, we just wanted to thank you for feeding us. And when I drove away, I thought, if someone had stopped me and I was homeless and asked what I needed, I would have come out with my grocery shopping list. I couldn't imagine this couple living on the streets and not asking for anything. And so next couple of weeks I stopped, and the woman let me know that she was pregnant. And she'd gotten some prenatal vitamins but didn't know how to read. So she didn't know how to take her vitamins. And so we worked through that. And so through that, we started building a relationship with them and stayed in a relationship with them until about 2 weeks before the baby was born. And we had gotten him into an apartment, and the baby was taken away after about a week for neglect. And those are the break your heart moments, that you know that you don't have an answer big enough for the hardships of the world and for the trauma people have lived through and the heartache they've endured. And some people born with mental illness who don't have family to support them. So that year around Thanksgiving, I went back down with some food, and I couldn't find any homeless people. And so I asked a security guard, I said, I have a car full of food, but I can't find anybody. And he said, you have 7 men watching you right now. And when I looked out, I didn't see anybody. It was kind of like finding Waldo, that unless you had seen them before, you didn't recognize from where they were watching you. So he pointed me over to 2 gentlemen, Rob and Terry, and he said, they're safe guys and they'll be a good place to start. And so we started serving them, and when I met them that day, then suddenly all these men kind of came out of the woodwork and came over. And so in the first year, we started serving about 40 or 45 people in this couple block radius here. And not just serving them, but really entering into relationships. We knew if they had allergies, we knew if they had asthma, we knew if they needed to be on disability and they weren't. And so we could then help them with those things. In the next year, there was an area called Tent City in St. Louis that had probably 4 very separate homeless camps. And so we became active in 3 or 4 of those camps. And so within 2 or 3 years, we were serving 250 or 300 people. And what we offered them was relief. So we would go up to them and say, my name is Catherine, and is there anything you need today? Is there anything we can help you with? And if we didn't already have it, then we would be back to them within 24 hours. And so they would know that what we wanted with them was a friendship, and that we weren't just diving in and giving a sandwich today and not seeing them again for another 6 months. So we built a group of volunteers around, that volunteers just kept coming in and coming in. And so this group of volunteers would take over this camp. If we got somebody into an apartment, there would be a man or a woman who was then their advocate for the next couple of years, to make sure that they were able to stay in their apartment. So the volunteers came in and started filling an awful lot of roles. Relationships are the key to what we do. Building a relationship with people living in poverty, and then being committed to being their advocate, is what has changed lives with All Among Us.